really thought that I had replied to you a while back.
Oh, no worries, no worries. So welcome everybody to another one-on-one hangout session in the treehouse. We have a special guest, Ashley, here today. Ashley, if how would you describe yourself to somebody on the street who's never met you before? What would you describe? What would you say? Who you are?
Well, first of all, I'm pretty shy, so I don't think I would run up to me. But pretty shy, driven, and I would probably just start talking about my job because I love it so much.
Right, exactly. And you are an editor, is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And how long have you been an editor, I guess? How many books would you ballpark that you've edited so far?
Oh my goodness. I don't know how many books, but I've been in business for about a year now.
About it.
Last month, so it's been an exciting anniversary.
Very cool. Congratulations. But also like 100 books? Are we talking 50 books? How many?
uh, Maybe in the ballpark of 50 or more. I don't think that like I've hit the hundred yet, but I should go back and look to see if if
That's
I
gonna be a huge milestone.
oh, that'll be a fun like Instagram post or something. So I should
Gotta
think.
celebrate, Ashley. I'm kidding. We gotta do something. No, that's awesome to hear. So yeah, I was going through and I'm a comic book writer, writer of lots of things, screenwriter and things like that. I've done short films. I do some YouTube stuff, but I've always liked writing poetry since high school, and I was interested now because I never really got into novels or books so much. So after college, I never really read that many things, but I'm starting to get more into them now. And because I think there's a big overlap. Because I think when you write one thing, you can write a lot of things. Is this your experience, Ashley, or how do you see writers in general?
I kind of have to argue with that a little bit because I
Please do.
not write poetry whatsoever. I tried in college because I you kind of have to with some of their classes, and I struggled so much just to get like two or three poems submitted for a class. And I was like, this is so much harder than novel writing in my mind. I can't imagine like sitting there and putting like your emotions and vulnerability on a page and making it sound pretty or having a rhyme or whatever. Like I could not wrap my brain around that. So I have so much respect for people that can write poetry because I cannot.
And it's funny because I even like took a leap from poetry to writing to songwriting recently. I did my first song, like lyrically writing. I didn't sing it. I'm not saying, but I thought it was I think there is something to be said about trying all these different things. If you like have established storytelling and writing and captivating audiences with your words, you can really transcend the genres and the boundaries of different verticals. I feel. And then, of course, I found you as an editor, and I was like, "Oh man, I think it'd be cool to have you on." And because I do see that you've been having some great success, and you've been, I said you've been in about a year now in your editing business. I think that's super cool. What made you? First of all, are you a writer first and foremost, or what made you get into editing?
Yeah, so I am a writer first and foremost. That's what I went to college for. And then I just kind of fell into editing. I don't know how to exactly explain it, but like in workshops and stuff, you have to also critique your classmates on their stories
Uh-huh.
and things like that. So I just like fell in love with like helping my classmates improve their stories and help them get what they like wanted on the page. So I really fell in love with that and thought about editing for like a newspaper or something when I graduated, but nothing that I was applying for was something I actually wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
I just kind of fell into like editing, and then it started as like a little page on my author website, and then it became like my actual website just became like me being an editor instead of a
There
writer.
we go.
But
There we go.
I just it's hard to find time because I take on so many clients. So I love to help and keep them moving in their projects. So like I kind of just like put mine off to the side a little more than I probably should.
That's right. What do you like to write? Mostly like books and novels as well.
Yes, I steer towards like horror or fantasy novels usually.
Horror or fantasy? I'm writing a comic book right now that's fantasy horror, so that's perfect. But I just want to touch base on your website here. This is your website, correct?
Yes, that's
Um,
I am very intrigued by this horror fantasy comic that you're working on.
um,
I have to read.
Absolutely, and I'm curious. Have you ever thought of have you ever thought of editing for comic books? That's something you'd want to do.
I would love to. I haven't had anyone bring me comic books yet or graphic novels. I've had short stories, I've had poetry, um, like collections and stuff like that, as well as novels, but I haven't had graphic novels come my way, which would be super cool. But I feel like that would also be hard because don't you have to draw everything, like the speech and all? So I would have to be the bad guy to be like, hey, you gotta fix this one thing right here. I'm really sorry. You gotta redo that.
No, absolutely. So so there's different stages of editing, and to be an all-encompassing editor in comics, you have to start, of course, from the developmental side of the story, right, before it gets drawn. But then, as the pages come in, the drawings come in, you can also change it as they call it penciling before they actually ink it. So it's like the initial sketches, and you change it at that stage, and then you can also change it in the coloring stage for the colors, and then you can change a dialogue again at the end. How the words interact with the image. It's very all encompassing, and it's definitely more different than just simple book editing.
The process too. Like you have to go through like your own stages of like making sure everything looks right, that it flows the way you want it to flow, and look on you want it to look on the page. That's a whole other art form than just poetry or a novel and all this other stuff. It's more visual. It's bringing that visual and like dialogue into it, which is really interesting.
Yes, so I actually kind of just like you just started this year. I've launched my own book publishing business, where now I release a book every month, a comic book at least for now. And I'm trying to expand and do more things, but for now I think that's a good, very ambitious goal to set. And we are halfway through the year, so it's all going good. But yeah, I was pulling up your website. You do, I see, editing services. You also have this custom book cover design. What is that?
Yes, so I just added her to my team this last May, where I hired or have a graphics designer on a contract by contract basis. So whenever someone comes to me and asks me for a book cover, I just email her and give it to her. So she has a little bit of stuff coming towards her, and my clients are able to come to me not just for editing, but we finish the editing process. They're like, what's my next step? The next step I would suggest is either working on your book a little bit more, or you can go ahead and start working towards that publishing process where you can go ahead and get a cover, go ahead and start doing that interior design, and just work on towards getting self-published if that's their desired goal.
Right. And I also see that there's this guidebook for writers, and I'm guessing that's you on this cover here. Is that true?
Sitting at this desk right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing as you, kind of, where I release like a little guidebook for writers that are just getting started or just want to like grow and expand their technique every couple of months. I'm already working on another one that's going to hopefully be released in August. So I have the same idea that you've got going, but mine isn't as ambitious as every month.
So it's going to be like a different guidebook or a part 2 of Show Don't Tell, or is it going to be like a different method?
It's totally different. This next one I'm planning to be a like book launch and author platform planner to help people out with social media and how to launch their book when they're self-publishing, or even if they're trying to get traditionally published. Marketing for yourself is important even in traditional publishing, and a lot of people don't know how to get started, where to get started, what to do first when it comes to that, because social media can be a very daunting thing.
I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing for 6 months, and you always have to definitely self-market yourself. I want to say, so this book you can get on Amazon. It is only a digital book, right? Kindle. Is there a print edition of this book?
No, not a print edition, because it's only about like 20 pages or so. So it's available on my website as a digital download, and it's available wherever ebooks are sold as well.
And Amazon. Would you prefer I buy it on Amazon or your website?
Probably Amazon, if I'm being honest.
All right, I will buy this. I'll definitely buy this. I learned not to do it on screen because people see my credit card information now. But it's great. I'll definitely take a look at it, and I want to hear what you have to say about the show don't tell, as a writing. When did you come out with this book? Was it recent?
Yes, it came out, I believe, last month.
Okay.
May as well. Like May was a big month with like the book cover designer launch and then also the guidebook. Um, but yeah, show don't tell is just one of those things that I see people get mixed up all the time where they tell instead of show, and I have to kind of be like that person that's like putting comments all the time to be like, what's this character feeling? I'm very confused. And instead of saying he was angry, there's a plethora of different ways you can show that character is angry. So I just kind of wanted to have that show don't tell guidebook to show them all the ways that they can use show instead of just using it for emotion exclusive.
And how has the reception been? Is this already a bestseller? How is it going, Ashley? Are you getting a lot of feedback on it?
I wish it was a bestseller, but it's had a lot more attention than I thought it was gonna get.
There we go. Yeah.
That's nice. And I've had some feedback that's been really nice. So I am gonna like lower the price, I think, a little bit because a couple people were like it's a little more on the expensive side for 20 pages, and I'm like, okay, I totally agree. So I'm gonna release a longer book next time for that like price range, so they're a little more satisfied with the writing references that they get back from purchasing.
Yeah, it's always curious to hear people's feedbacks. I definitely, I would say, soak it all in, but then still do whatever you want, Ashley. There's.
I'll take criticism as an editor. I'm like, that's super hypocritical of me. So.
But I run the gambit of reactions for my books and my writings. People who love it and the people who are not so kind, but then everything in between. So
Yeah. With the horror fantasy comic, is it out right now? Is it like purchasable?
It absolutely is. It's on Kickstarter. Have you heard of Kickstarter, Ashley?
I think I have.
It is having a renaissance of publishers, small indie publishers like ourselves, I guess, and new writers who can help distribute their books and really have a fan base, build a fan base on this site called Kickstarter. People are searching for new indie books that are not mainstream and stuff like that. So and they go to this site because it's like a treasure trove of small guys doing like random things and really pushing the boundaries of traditional writing and publishing and stuff like that. So definitely check it out. I'll definitely send you the link our fantasy later. But I wanted to ask about your editing service right now. It's actually you're so busy that there's a wait list. Is that correct? You have like
actually my schedule's up on the screen behind us right now. So like I'm pretty much almost booked for the rest of the year. I think I have like a couple of spots left, which is entirely unexpected. TikTok is one of those things. It's an amazing platform that gets you where you want to be or beyond where you want to be. I had like October through December completely open. I wasn't looking to book at all. I posted one TikTok about what I offer as an editor with like payment plans and stuff like that. And then I had like 10 or 15 people in my inbox within like 2 days. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do about this, but I will do my best to get everybody in here for the rest of the year.
That is awesome to hear. TikTok is something I'm definitely exploring more of. I definitely grew up on Facebook and YouTube, but definitely this TikTok wave is something we're all, and this is, I guess, all you TikToks are talking about, right?
Yeah, it's an amazing platform. It's a great community if you're in the writing community, and with comic books, I imagine that it would be super easy to promote your comic books on there and everything like that. So I highly recommend.
You've convinced me, Ashley. I will now join TikTok. You've done. Yeah, I've definitely want to take the plunge, and you've you pushed me over the edge. Pushed me off the bridge there. I'm definitely excited to hear this. You're doing so well, and this is your university or something doing this. Where do you see the next year headed, or the next few months for the rest of the year? Are you trying to? I guess you have one more book coming out. Are you trying to do some more writing yourself? Are you trying to expand your editing business?
Yes. So I'm actually planning on, I've been putting together a mentorship program for editing within like the next couple of months. So I will be bringing someone else on board to train them under how I edit and my style guide and everything for editing, and to be able to take on more clients because the demand has been wonderful. So I'm just trying to get a couple other people under my belt. I'm going to start with one, but that's how I would like to see my company expand, where I have several people under my team. We gear, towards certain genres that they would like to work with, and etc. And kind of take the workload off a little bit, where it's like divided among all of us, but also be able to help as many writers as possible, which is the goal for me. As a writer myself, I know how important it is to want to get your work out there as soon as possible. So that's always my goal, to help everyone I can.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much for hanging out in the treehouse with us. You said you were shy in the beginning. I don't see it at all, Ashley. Thank you.
I'll talk about my company. It takes off.
So, yeah, when you talk about your writing and your works, I definitely feel like the passion comes out of it. And of course, that's why we do it. What to end this? Do you have any advice to first-time writers or even first-time editors, or anything to kind of say to people who are trying to follow their dreams and their passions?
That's basically it. Is don't give up. At those times that you feel like you're ready to just quit and drop everything and be done with that dream, do not give up on that dream. It can happen. I mean, I was working 2 jobs, including editing and another retail job, before this exploded. So it's dedication, 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 and don't give up. It'll happen.
Don't give up. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Ashley. I'll link everything down below. Make sure you check out her book, Show Don't Tell, and follow her. Maybe if you need an editor as well. Thanks for hanging out in the treehouse, Ashley.
Thank you.